Call the Committee of Student Life to order. I call on Vice Chancellor Denise Maybank to give her report.
Good afternoon, everyone. As you probably know, this is the season for midterms, and for students beginning to see the light at the end of the tunnel. They're not sure what it is, but they see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's also the time when so many programs and events are scheduled. So I'm just going to run through a few of those that are upcoming, and if you need the specifics, catch me toward the end of the meeting. So on Wednesday, April 2nd, the BMI, the Black Male Initiative, will be celebrating its 20th anniversary with over 8,000 students participating in more than 30 programs across the university. It's grown significantly in its 20 years of existence. Also on April 2nd, and their event will be at the Graduate Center in the auditorium. Also on April 2nd, at John Jay College of Criminal Justice, we'll be hosting the Strategies for Mental Health Awareness, Action, and Advocacy. This is a partnership between CUNY and the Steve Fund to address awareness by looking at having some insightful discussions and workshops to deepen our understanding of the mental health challenges faced by highly diverse students in urban college settings, and to think about action, and that will equip participants with proven strategies and tools to implement effective and culturally affirming mental health initiatives. And finally, advocacy to inspire and empower attendees to champion systematic changes that prioritize resources and enhance mental health and well-being of the diverse tapestry that is the CUNY student body. Then the next 2 days, Thursday and Friday, April 3rd and 4th, at Borough of Manhattan Community College, we'll be having the Undocumented Immigrant Student Conference, which is looking at expanding CUNY's imagination for undocumented immigrant students, using the work of the Strategic Fund fellows, researchers, practitioners, and experts to reflect on the current state of services and activities among our undocumented immigrant students. There'll be panels, discussions, and an interactive workshop to collectively reimagine bold futures that can be explored. Then also on Friday the 4th, so we double up, we triple up, we just keep going. At Bronx Community College, we'll be hosting the 4th annual CUNY LGBTQI+ Student Conference. And that will allow students to come together who are interested in learning more about leadership and creating change on our campuses and in our broader communities. They'll be talking about what leadership looks like for social change and what an inclusive CUNY looks like as well. So there's food, there are workshops, there's a resource fair, keynote address, and the opportunity for students to come together. So those are the ones for now. We also have our neurodiversity conference coming up, and I think it happens before we would get together again, and that is on the 25th, if I'm not mistaken, of April. So that will be another important opportunity this month. So with that, I'll turn it back to you, Trustee.
Thank you, Vice Chancellor Maybank. We will take up the following items for approval. Action item 2 is the approval of the minutes of the January 27, 2025 meeting. I move to approve action item 2A. Do I have a second?
Second, Clark.
Thank you, Trustee Clark. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? That passes. Seeing none, that passes unanimously. I will now address action item B, the policy calendar. Action item 2B is a resolution to approve the reallocation of a portion of the university student senate fee. I call on Executive Vice Chancellor and Chief Operating Officer.
He has a question about it.
Oh, I apologize. Go right ahead.
Thank you. Sorry, I want to backtrack to the report. So thank you very much for discussing those, all of the really wonderful activities. But I had sort of given the current environment, have we really informed folks who are manning the front door, registering? Do we have sort of good policies and procedures should federal enforcement show up, especially at the undocumented student conference, but certainly at all the conferences? I mean, I think we have to think about sort of training folks at the door.
Thank you for asking the question, and yes, so our general counsel has issued reissued, I guess is the way to state it, the guidance associated with what is to be done when certain circumstances happen, should they present themselves, and all of the staff that are associated with undocumented immigrant students are aware of that information and will be prepared to handle things accordingly. So we are following the law. We are staying.
No, I understand that. I just think it's we need to be on heightened alert. These events can become lightning rods for unwelcome presentation. So,
And thank you for the concern. So I believe we'll be ready and certainly be on guard for anything that might happen. I don't know if you want to say anything.
I just want to second that we ought to be aware, because I would imagine if I saw any of them show up, I don't know what we do to turn them away.
What's going on,
and to
but
say you
in
can't come
particular,
and you
I have
never
to
know
say,
what will
being
happen. So
very, very
all of
proud
the
of
safeguards
CUNY,
have to be
where
there,
we have
and the students that are coming should be aware of what the environment is. And between now and the conference, we may even get more bad news. So if we get bad news, we got to figure out how to handle this.
Thank you, Trustee Clark, and we will.
So just to be clear, and just so that no one's under a false assumption that federal law enforcement agents cannot enter our premises, they can enter under certain circumstances. They have to have a formally
right.
issued judicial warrant
Yep.
signed by a federal court judge. We have a procedure in place that it has to be examined, it has to be validated and confirmed, and public safety, working together with local campus council, will administer whatever procedures have to be taken at that site. We're certainly not going to volunteer. We've never done that. And to the extent that our folks, we have a training session, in fact, this Friday for public safety officers. We've met with the presidents and deans, as Daisy will probably tell you, and
Oh, we are.
others. So,
We keep rehearsing it also.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, and I had no doubt, this wasn't like doubt that folks have the plans in place. This was about folks at the front line,
Yeah.
which is a
Yeah.
whole different ball of wax, right? Who may feel intimidated,
Sure,
not
sure.
Accidentally, right? That there's shows of force, there's intimidation. I just wanted to make sure that game day folks had the right tools and the right escalation protocols to, right? Because there's no joke right now.
right.
And, we can't do stuff to
I
place our
just think that
students at
they
risk.
are, now that also is because we have turnstiles and there's IDs, that this protocol began there 20
Okay,
years
good.
ago. But there are a couple of the schools that don't have that. Those schools that don't have that protocol are the ones that I think I would lose a little sleep on, a little bit. You know. But
I do also know that we've supported several Know Your Rights
yeah.
symposiums for students. So they're the front of the front lines with their status. So I know that we've hosted and promoted several of those events across different campuses. I do want to appreciate President DeFilippis and the rest of the cops for being on board with hearing from the Chancellery. And these are perilous times, and we should make sure that we follow the letter of the law. And I know Derek Davis's office is working in concert with the local councils for all of that. Any other discussion on?
I just want to say, you never know, because things keep changing, but every precaution that we can. And thank you to Derek for the kind of support that he's giving us.
It's not easy, right?
Not easy, but we follow and we are sharing. When his office told me it was okay to share, we send out college-wide and distribute it, and I had folks present, the chief and our lawyer presented at the Senate, and so that, but also you should know that at the schools, we're all making sure that there is outreach to students, because there's a lot of anxiety and so on. So there's a lot of support that's coming from counseling and other events. Okay?
Let's try.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you, President. So, is there any further discussion on this or any other item? Then I'd like to move to the approval, A resolution to approve the reallocation of portion of the University Student Senate fee. I'll call on Vice Chancellor Denise Maybank to provide information on this item. Or is it Ian James? I'm calling on.
So at the last committee meeting, the University Student Senate presented a resolution that was passed by the plenary by 2/3 for the reallocation of the University Student Senate fee that was allocated to athletics to be reallocated to the Vice Chancellor Fund. So University Student Senate Trustee Daniel Radin is there to make a comment.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, Hector, also Arbanese, for allowing me to present that item in your committee. Taking the time out of your day, Hector. I know you're a very busy man, to just meet with me, discuss the details of this item. This is monumental for USS, and you're a champion. So I can't thank you enough for this, and really do appreciate you.
Sure. Well, thank you for thanking me, but I would say that's my job, right? I think that ultimately we're all here to serve our mission, which is to support our students. And so any day that we could do that, it is. I always kid that I don't get to do it as much as I would like. The chancellor gets to do it more than me. I always kid with him about that, but I think it's obviously something that we're very supportive of, and obviously we'll continue to be supportive.
Are there any other statements? Because otherwise, I'd like to move the approval of policy item B1. Do I have a second?
Second.
So moved.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? That passes unanimously. Item 3, University Student Senate update. I call on Student Trustee and Chairperson of the University Student Senate, Daniel Redden, to update us on USS. Trustee Redden.
Thank you, Trustee Urbanides, for this opportunity, and thank you, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Daniel Redden. I'm a student trustee. Thank you. And thank you for the opportunity to give you an update on everything that's been happening in USS from the start of my administration. So, there's a slight delay.
She'd press the right button.
Okay, there we go. All right. So, this is just an overview, just to give you guys a bit of an overview of what we're going to talk about today. So, firstly, USS committees such as the Academic Affairs, USS Scholarship, Fiscal Committee, Bylaws, etc., have been up and running. There's been a lot of positive momentum on our 2024-25 legislative agenda, also known as Bill. More on that later. We held the second annual Leadership Symposium. We've attended conferences such as Caucus, SOMOS, also went to Higher Education Action Day in Albany. We've been very active in the state and city budget hearings for CUNY on behalf of USS. And the USS 2025 annual scholarship is in the works, and I'll give you some more information on that as well. And just another information item on March, which will be happening on the 29th. So to begin, this is the digitized front page of our pamphlet that we distribute when we talk and network with elected officials. Just to give a brief overview on the 53-year history and mission of the University Student Senate. On the back of our pamphlet, we have the legislative priorities. I mentioned BUILD. So BUILD is an acronym. The B in BUILD stands for Basic Needs and Student Wellbeing, which highlights the CUNY Cares project. U stands for Unlock Academic and Career Potential, which is the CUNY budget request for academic and career advisement services. The I is Improve Access to Transportation. This is the flagship ask for USS. The L stands for Leverage Resources for Student Support. This is campus staffing support for our students with disabilities. And the D stands for Drive Innovation and Technology, to make sure that CUNY moves in lockstep with technology and upgrades their infrastructure. Just want to note that our legislative priorities were pulled directly from the CUNY budget request, so that we advocate with CUNY in one voice. This slide just goes over the asks and the legislative priorities of CUNY. The second annual Leadership Symposium that was held on January 24th, and the theme of this and the title of the symposium was Roadmap to Effective Student Leadership. We wanted to provide student leaders, aspiring or current, USS delegates and alternates as well with the tools they need to be the most successful student leaders possible. It was a very fun event, but also informative as well. And I feel like our students left with very tangible advice. So, pictured here, I just want to give a very heartfelt thank you to Derek Davis, Senior Vice Chancellor and General Counsel, for making it possible to have apparel and fashion professional from Ralph Lauren, Yannick Villain. She presented on Dressing for Success. We all know how important your presentation is when you dress. That's the first thing people see. It's your business card when you enter a room. Thank you. And so when you dress professionally, you feel confident, right? And that's exactly what she presented on. She also said confidence is in you as well. What you wear is only so important, but also walking with that confidence is important as well. Next, we had the one and only Assistant Vice Chancellor Ian James. He gave a phenomenal presentation on just the information that CUNY students need, such as CUNY Article 15 and 16 and the CUNY Manual on General Policy. And Ian, your willingness to just be a student advocate and just connect and engage with our students is just very well received. We thank you so much for that. Also, Senior Vice Chancellor and General Counsel Derek Davis gave a wonderful presentation on the Roberts Rules of Order, which every student leader should know and needs to know.
Yes.
So thank you very much on that.
Did you get one of his pens?
Oh man, you also gave us some books as well. And I just want to also say your matter-of-factness, your commitment to just being as bold and as blunt as possible when it comes to just cutting straight to the facts and giving students the tools and the advice they need to be effective leaders was very valuable, and our students definitely left with just a greater understanding of what that holds. Caucus. The 2025 Black, Puerto Rican, Hispanic, and Asian Legislative Caucus ran from February 14th to 17th, and our delegates went to Albany. We advocated for our legislative priorities, made fruitful connections with government officials, and made lasting memories, and gained experience in the political sphere. Pictured here is the one and only chair of our committee, Arvanides. Students love you, and your presence was definitely felt, so thank you so much. Also,
Wonderful.
and so these conferences were a great opportunity to push our legislative agenda and to network with just elected officials.
I want to move just a little closer to the microphone, Daniel, so CUNY TV can hear you.
Absolutely.
Great.
Yeah, and success often is said to be derived from your network, right? And so connecting with all these elected officials, pushing the CUNY budget requests, and our legislative priorities was a very important, integral part of why we came to the conference in the first place. So pictured here is the USS Assembly member and chair of the Legislative Caucus, Michelle Salages, who we took that picture with after her workshop with Senator Robert Jackson. To the right, you'll see Senate Majority Leader Andrea Stewart-Cousins, big player in New York State politics, and it was a wonderful opportunity to give her a scarf and also let her know what CUNY and USS is here for and what we're pushing for. Pictured here, as I mentioned earlier, was Senator Robert Jackson, who is a big supporter of free MetroCards for CUNY students. He was an integral part of including the free MetroCard initiative in the people's budget for an amount of $75.5 million, which provides free MetroCards for all CUNY students. To the right is the Small Business Services Commissioner, Dinah Gross. This was taken at our dinner. USS is for life, right? And so former chair and trustee Harris Khan, he is the chief of staff to Dinah Gross. So when I found out that he was in Albany at the same time as we were, I asked if he can come and speak to our students and bring Dinah, and he did. I'm forever grateful for that. It was a great conversation. Next slide is more elected officials that we connected with and advocated our legislative priorities for. Leticia James, of course. She needs no introduction. And we also have Assembly Member Brian Cunningham holding our USS bag and us just having a great conversation a moment. Higher Education Action Day in Albany. This was a spectacle. This was a joint coalition effort with all of the student advocacy groups in CUNY. And it started with a rally on the $1 Million Staircase pictured on the left. This was hundreds of students from both SUNY and CUNY in the entire higher education sphere. This was a rally that just proclaimed our support and advocacy for higher education. This was followed by meetings with members of the New York State Assembly and Senate and their staff, and of course, USS used this opportunity to advocate for free MetroCards and other legislative priorities. So, Somos was another conference, another opportunity. The first photo was taken after the gala, and the last photo was taken on the last day. You can see us flanked by our public safety, who we love very dearly for keeping us safe. And we had a booth. The booth was a big hit. It was very vibrant. It was well organized, and we had our merch, we had our pamphlets there. Pictured on the left is our USS delegates. On the right is Senator Jackson. And the infamous booth, once again, pictured on the left is Assemblymember Manny De Los Santos. Quick anecdote on him. He had no idea what the USS was, but he saw our booth. He saw all of the delegates there that were stopping people, handing out pamphlets, and he wanted to learn more. And so he approached us, and we informed him. And that's the origin of that picture. To the right is CUNY Chancellor John King and the student trustee for CUNY, Giovanni Harvey. And that was a great moment of just informing them on what USS stands for, having that connection, that coalition being built, building deeper relations with our higher education partners. I want to give a huge shout out to public safety. We love them. They keep us safe during all of our trips, all of our retreats, all of our plenaries, and they've been there for so long, and I don't want to take them for granted whatsoever. And so from the left, we have Sergeant Anthony Ramirez. Then we have Rocky. We also have Sergeant Elaine Lopez, Deputy Director of Operations Freddie. Last but not least, Tatiana Dunlap, the one and only. We were active and interacting with the state, right? So this is us at the New York State joint legislative hearing, preliminary budget hearing, actually. And so on behalf of USS Delegate Mohammed Takani and I testified at the committee where we advocated for free MetroCards, capital infrastructure, and our build agenda. This is the city. So on the 13th of March, USS went to the New York City Council preliminary budget hearing. And pictured here is the one and only Denise Maybank. Thank you for being there and watching our testimony and staying after. I really do appreciate that. And in the middle is the New York City Council member and chair of the Committee on Higher Education, Eric Dinowitz, who is a big supporter of CUNY. He's CUNY for life. We all know.
He loves Hostos.
Yeah, oh yeah.
He comes to read to the children all the time, so you know. Yeah.
He's a Bronx native, so I'm not surprised. On the right, we have USS steering and plenary members. This is after our testimony, and obviously we're in high spirits. And now we come to our USS scholarship. So it's our flyer right over here. This will be going live shortly. The dates are tentative. So the 2025 USS scholarship will run tentatively from March 31st to April 30th. And we will have 500 applications per scholarship CUNY-wide. And all of our scholarships are merit-based, right? We'll also want to say that this is in collaboration with the Central Office of Technology, and this is going to be distributed through CUNY First. And so they will code into CUNY First all of the eligible students, and they will receive the application. But this is also a student-led. Sorry.
No, finish.
Okay. So just going to run through the scholarships that we're distributing. We have the Donald and Mary Ellen Pasantino Students with Disability Scholarship application. That award amount is for $1,000. It's for 2 students per campus, and that'll be the same for every scholarship. Next is the Donald and Mary Ellen Pasantino International Student Scholarship application for the same amount. Then we have the Ernesto Malave Merit Scholarship application for $1,500. And then lastly, the Graduate Peer Mentoring Scholarship application for $1,000. So the 2025 USS Scholarship Committee application reviews will start in June, and all scholarship collections will be sent to the CUNY Central Office for vetting to make sure that we're compliant with all of the scholarship requirements. The announcement of the 2025 scholarship winners will take place in August.
So as of today, you probably have another scholarship you could add to that. It's the Dali Martinez Scholarship at Hostels.
Yeah?
So today, Dottie Martinez said
Yeah.
we should,
She's
one of
doing
our
an endowed
colleagues,
scholarship.
very, very proud of her. $50,000. For her.
Thank you.
This is the kind of leaders you have at this university, people that are working here but also committing.
She also belongs to her.
So this is the flyer for our annual march in March. This is a spectacle, guys. We're gonna have hundreds of students marching from Brooklyn Borough Hall across the Brooklyn Bridge over to City Hall. And this is a joint coalition effort. Once again, you can see all the coalitions to the bottom left. And this will be taking place, like I said earlier, on March 29th, Saturday at 11:30 a.m. sharp. Hope to see you guys there. Just want to give a big, big thank you. All this cannot be possible without the help of our steering committee, the University Student Senate crew, Assistant Vice Chancellor Ian James, thank you so much, Joseph Awaji, and of course, our delegates and alternates from all across CUNY. Listed here are our steering committee members, and I'll just read them really quickly. Vice Chair for Legislative Affairs, Akeem Paula. Vice Chair for Community Colleges, Naima Martinez. Vice Chair for Graduate Students, Josiah Ramsar. Vice Chair for Fiscal Affairs, Tahisha Fields, thank you. Vice Chair for Technology Fee Affairs, Wei Chong. Vice Chair for Senior Colleges, Joseph Newswander. Vice Chair for International Students, John Jara. Vice Chair for Disability Affairs, Tatiana Alexis McLaren. And lastly, Vice Chair for Part-Time and Evening Students, Junior Andrews. I'm gonna read off our CUNY University, CUNY Student Senate crew, Executive Director Kinza, thank you so much. Thank you to our project coordinator, Fernando Araujo, our budget director, Farbad Hadizada Mogadam, there we go. And lastly, thank you so much, Joseph, our USS liaison, and the University Director for Student Engagement. So that is the end of my presentation.
Excellent. I know you've done a lot of work on the Metro cards. The MTA has recently announced that they're going to be ending the Metro cards in favor of Omni, so you're going to have to change all those.
Switch to language.
And I will once again advocate that you guys, in addition to all the great work you've done on the Metro cards, adding in the fast ferries and the express buses are something that should be taken into account. Maybe that's from Staten Island, we take ferries, but express buses, but not everybody gets to college back and forth through local buses or subways. Anyway, are there any other comments or questions? I want to thank Dan for providing that information with us. And now I'd like to move on to item 3, reflections of selected students. I invite Vice Chancellor Maybank to introduce our students.
Thank you, Trustee Arvanites. So, as you know, our tagline for our strategic plan is CUNY Lifts New York. And we do that in so many unique and compelling ways. And so today we want to feature one of those unique and compelling ways that we lift New York. Founded in 2011, the Prison to College Pathways Program, affectionately given its acronym P2CP, is a joint partnership between John Jay College of Criminal Justice and the Borough of Manhattan Community College at the Otisville Correctional Facility, which is a medium security men's prison in upstate New York. The P2CP is administered by the John Jay College Institute for Justice and Opportunity and offers a BMCC Associate in Arts, Liberal Arts degree with pathways to several baccalaureate degrees. P2CP allows incarcerated students to pursue higher education before release and lays the groundwork for a successful transition into their communities and for their continued involvement in higher education. John Jay and Borough of Manhattan Community College professors teach accredited courses that provide students with well-rounded backgrounds in the sciences, humanities, mathematics, and languages. In addition to being offered credit-bearing courses, students in the program have access to a supportive learning community and academically focused programs and services to help them to prepare for continued education and to enter the workforce post-release. We are privileged to be joined today by the director of this unique program, Denise Martinez. Denise, you want to stand up? She spells her name the difficult way with 2 S's. We're glad to have you. And I present to you the 2 students from the Prison to College Pathway Program, studying at John Jay College of Criminal Justice. First, we will hear from Harold Capers, a junior majoring in Human Services and Community Justice, and then we will hear from Wilson Laboreal, I hope I pronounced it correctly, a sophomore majoring in English. So Harold?
Yes, good afternoon. First of all, I want to thank you all for this opportunity. My name is Harold Capers, and I'm a 60-year-old late learning John Jay student. My journey began while serving a 25-year prison sentence for committing an armed robbery, of which I am deeply remorseful. While being housed at Otisville Correctional Facility, during orientation, I was informed there was a John Jay program, P2CP, in the facility. So I signed up to go to an orientation lecture, and after the lecture, I applied and took the exam and passed. When I received confirmation, I was excited by John Jay. When I received confirmation that I was accepted by John Jay, I was excited. The first day of class, I started learning new terms such as social construction of reality, the socially dead, and becoming a better writer by following the professor's guidance. The most fundamental course I have enrolled in was Sociology 101. In this course, we used a book written by sociologist Dr. David M. Newman in 1958 titled Sociology, Exploring the Active Culture of Everyday Life, 7th edition. This book is the foundation for me to succeed in all college courses because the authors are writing about how people shape their experiences through social interaction. We are continuously re-socializing ourselves as human beings. I accumulated 48 credits and made John Jay's Dean's List spring 2022 and fall 2023. On March 21st, 2024, I was released from prison. I went to John Jay College, but I could not enroll because it was in the middle of the semester. So I waited until the fall semester. I remember a professor speaking about a Roberto Clemente Bard College course in Harlem in the evening, so I enrolled and completed that course and received 6 credits. That was transferred over to John Jay, which is where I am a full-time student and expected to graduate in spring 2026. In addition, I won a John Jay Mental Health Scholarship December 2024, and as of March 20th, 2025, I won the John Jay Ron Moeller Social Innovation Fellowship, and currently I'm a student in the Transfer Advantage Workshop Series at John Jay College. I want to close my speech by saying, according to the Correctional Educational Association and other statistical data, 63% of the people in prison are illiterate. Less than 5% of people who go to college return to prison, while 67% of formerly incarcerated people return to prison. I say that to say this. College should be mandated in all prisons because it is proven to be the most effective form of rehabilitation. More funds need to be allocated to educating those who are incarcerated, and even more for communities and society that fall below poverty levels. Thank you. Anyone have any questions? Feel free to ask.
Thank you, Harold, for your determination and your courage to be here tonight. Well, Wilson, I believe you had something to say as well?
Yes, sir. Thank you all for having me. Concerning CUNY and the P2CP program, I'd like to tell you that my journey started over 10 years before I enrolled into John Jay. My journey started in 2012 during an stop and frisk craze in Harlem. I was stopped and frisked. I didn't know why. I gave up my ID, and I was part of an indictment at that moment, and I was arrested 10 months later. I had a lawyer who wasn't really helpful. I had a prosecutor who had a disdain for me, and a judge who didn't like me. I was sentenced the year after to 30 years imprisonment. with 5 years post-release. I was an autodidact. I felt like I had to be one. I didn't really have any help. So I had to teach myself, and in 2017, I got a modification in my sentence. 15 years, taken off. So, throughout the time, I was still helping people. I got my legal research certificate, and I was into the law. When I got transferred to Otisville Correctional Facility, they had flyers up for John Jay, P2CP. And I figured that this college can help me refine my writing skills and my communication skills. And it did that. 2022, I enrolled and did pretty well. Everything that I learned from P2CP, I took it to the law library because I was the law clerk there. Helped many people get de novo appeals to get back in front of the parole board. Helped a few people get home. Before P2CP, I had more losses than wins. After P2CP, I had more wins than losses. The college professors there, Professor Minahan, taught me about claim evidence warrant. Professor LaForge taught me a lot with philosophy and seeking out fallacies. Professor Di Giovanni taught me about truth-false statements. Professor Green taught me about sociology and to give me an insight on why I am the way I am. Professor Tariq taught me about primary sources and secondary sources. I use all that to help people and myself as well. So I say that to say this education has helped me immensely. And I hope that it continues to run so it can help everyone else. I figure once you have a skill, there shouldn't be recidivism. You have a skill now. That's all. Thank you, guys.
Before I became a trustee, I actually ran United Safety Academy. It's the largest vocational academy in the city, and we did a lot of incarcerated individuals. They were able to walk out of prison with a certificate so that they could go to work on a construction site. And our chair, Bill Thompson, is famous for saying, you know, education is a sledgehammer. They keep putting up walls in front of you, but you got a sledgehammer now. I hope you guys pursue your degrees. And I also hope that your self-advocacy, and I believe your self-advocacy will help people that are incarcerated now. So keep speaking and keep advocating and self-advocating, please.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
If
Yes.
I may, I think your stories are really powerful. I commend you for your perseverance. Stay the course, and the fact that you worry about helping others, it just breaks my heart when you're going through such a difficult time yourselves. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And continue the good work. I believe, like you do, that education is a way to move forward.
For sure. Thank you.
Well, first, thanks to both of you for coming and sharing your stories. I guess my question is, thinking about both of your experiences, like, are there a couple of things that you really want us to know about, things that CUNY can do for that, from your experience, like things that CUNY can do for other students through this program? For example, you talked about your release being in March, but you didn't get to enroll to September. And I know that you enrolled in another course, but are there some linkages that you want us to sort of consider thinking about? Are there other things to help strengthen this program?
Yes, there is one. One is that for me, since I've been in college, one of the things I found the most difficult, and I'm learning, is technology.
Okay.
And there is a system in CUNY to help you with that, but I've been incarcerated for 25 years. So a lot of the stuff that I learned, I have to unlearn. And sometimes people don't seem to understand that.
Okay.
And then I'm not making that a fault on anyone because I made the choices that I made. But I think something can do better to help people that's coming home from prison to make a better adjustment. On the computer, they have a system, the Blackboard, and they have Brightspace.
Yeah.
It's extremely difficult to me to get in and out of Bryce Days. And the professors,
trustees, too.
yes. So I would like to see a little bit more help in that particular area.
Thank you.
And I'm glad you asked that. Thank you.
Thank you.
As far as for me, I just think that with helping students, anyone who is fighting their case, being that this is about justice, that there can be some kind of help, some kind of workshop with corresponding with courts, helping them, helping students, because there are incarcerated individuals who may have committed a crime but have been overcharged. And there are court clerks right now who are not processing documents in a timely fashion. They're not following CPLRs, and neither are the judges. When the decision is supposed to be made in 60 days and it takes longer, I mean, we have no recourse. We're pro se litigants. Lawyers don't really want to hear from us too much. Maybe there can be a sort of kind of help for us, you know?
Now, you mentioned that you saw a flyer. Once you get into the program, is there any assistance like counseling or peer mentorship or something along those lines to assist your journey?
You mean being incarcerated?
No, once you got into the program, was there any in-program assistance or for counseling, for assistance with the bureaucracy?
Yes, yes. There are.
That's good to know. Are there any other questions? I want to thank the both of you for
Thank you.
giving us some insight into the program. We appreciate that immensely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just have one
Yes.
closing comment.
Of course.
So you may know the.
Vice Chancellor.
I'm not going to read the quotes from the two presidents. I'll skip that, but they'll be in my written report. But you know that the
Which presidents?
Carol Mason and Anthony Monroe.
Oh, those are two of my favorites. No
So
offense.
they have great things to say about this program and its impact and what it does. And so the reality is that the program might spark something in those who hear that it exists and what they're able to do. But if you know the tagline for BMCC, it's start here, go anywhere. And I believe that P2CP is about start there at Otisville. But the people who go through this program can go anywhere and do anything. And I'm so privileged to have had the opportunity to meet both of you and to talk with you and to know more about you. And so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Seeing no other business in front of the committee, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. Have a second?
Second.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?